What's going on, world? Welcome back to another edition of the 2022 episode of the Black Mental Health Podcast. I am your host, Reg, and I missed you all, man. It's been a long time coming. Um, a lot of things have happened over the years, and we're gonna get over the years as the podcast started, but also in the year of since I last recorded, and I had to give a lot of my attention to other things, and something was always missing within all the work that I was doing, and I couldn't remember. Let me not say I couldn't remember. One of the things I realized that I missed the most was the podcast, man. Again, once you start getting into some of these things, you lose focus of like what brought you to the space in the first place. Um, and one of the things that brought me to the space in the first place was that I love what I did. I'm trying to get the mic right, so if you see me on the YouTube, what I'm fiddling with is the mic. But um, yeah, man, I started this podcast out of I forgot that it was a sort of like a journal for me. It was sort of a journal. I like to document the journey of especially not only my mental health but others. So I definitely am excited to get back to this podcast. It's a beautiful thing of what we've seen in the space with the podcast and how many um individuals have become podcasters in the Black mental health space, and I'm looking forward to getting them all on this platform as well, because I want to collaborate. It's a lot of good content out there, but it was a lot of things I felt was missing from the ecosystem because as COVID, we're in this COVID lifestyle, and um, I see that mental health, or I believe that mental health will take a surge over the next few years as we battle with this, as we battle with the metaverse that is coming up um in how we're going to connect online and offline. So there's a lot of things I want to get into. A lot of things you guys can look forward to. I won't leave again, and I'll tell you that I know it's not going to happen because I got a lot of free time recently, but we'll get into it. But let's get started. Let's talk about where I've been, how I've been doing, and all of those different things, man, because a lot has changed. When we last talked, we was talking to Zakia Williams, who was a part of the Blackman Hill family, which I'll get just started talking about later. And we were talking about a lot of the trauma that was happening with going on in the Black community. But I'll start with what you see on my shirt, and if you can't see it and you only could hear it, I have a Drexel University hoodie on. And let me check. I don't know if I ever announced that. Oh no, I didn't announce. So I'll announce it now. I announced it on social media. That's what happened. I didn't bring it to my podcast audience, but I announced it on social media that I started going back to school, and I started going back to school because one of the things that always bothered me about uh some of the work that I was doing around mental health or just in general, when I would go into these different schools or businesses or any other thing, is that I didn't have a degree. And that was one of the first questions they always ask me because I guess I'm well spoken and I have a lot of intelligent thoughts or ideas, but they always wanted to know, well, what degree you have or whatever the case may be. Now, some of you may not know that I've attended Shippensburg University. Shout out to all my ship folks. Got a chance to hang out with you over the past year. Um, and one of those things that I decided to do and dedicate my time to is finishing out my bachelor's degree. Now, here's the dilemma. Well, let me say, I always knew I wanted to go to Drexel. I wanted a school that would give me a challenge because one of the reasons why I dropped out of school in the first place was that I felt like I was getting failing grades. I was getting different grades that I felt like I didn't deserve. Um, but I didn't realize, and again, I guess that's learning it over time. I didn't realize that the community that we come from or that I've came from didn't set me up for the proper success in being academic success. So I wasn't prone to studying. I wasn't prone to showing up at class. I wasn't prone to doing a lot of these things. So one day I just got up and just left school like, hey, I'm done. I reached out to one of my roommates, shout out Rich, and I just said, I'm done school. And he was like, "You serious?" And I said, "Yeah." Like it just didn't feel like for me. A lot of things were going on at home that I felt like I could help out and contribute to. It just didn't feel like the environment for me. Fast forward, and that was in 2011. So fast forward to 2021, I was like, I have unfinished business with school, and I really want to get into getting that validation because it's a ticket, it's a piece of paper, and I was one of those people that was like, man, I ain't going back to school. I don't need school. I can do it on my own. But I actually wanted to compete with the best. I didn't want to be the outside person talking about the inside people. I wanted to go in there and really become a part of an institution that can challenge me, and also I can challenge it. I think that there we go. That was one of the things that I wanted to do. I'm glad as I talk it out. See, that's why I missed the podcast. I missed it. I wanted to do things like this. I wanted to challenge the status quo while also challenging myself. So and being able to come to a happy medium and coming to a together thing. So I'm in school now. It was exciting once I got accepted because I was so disappointed in myself again, not realizing coming from these different environments, it's certain things, not really knowing certain things that academically that I was supposed to know. My GPA was so horrible, and I didn't know if it was a reflection. I can say now that it wasn't a reflection of me; it was a reflection of my circumstances. But to colleges, universities, it's a reflection of you. It's like your social security card. Um, and so I went and applied for school, and this is the first time I'm saying it publicly again because I privately, it was something that was bothering me. Is I did get into school, but I didn't get accepted to a program, and I was still having a hard time learning and thinking about what that meant and how I felt about it. But I was just happy to be back in school, and even to this day, they still, because of my academic history, they still want to um challenge myself to see. They didn't want me to build some credibility with Drexel. So I'm in school now, I'm taking classes, and even now, which again, that could be you have a plan and then God has a plan, and there is something different. uh I thought that I was going to be a therapist. And again, the door is still open. I haven't decided because again, I'm not in a program. I thought that that's what I was going to school for, to become a therapist. And then as I go through and as I start to like take some of these classes, I'm like, I don't know. I think I care more about community health. I care about mental health. Y'all know that I wouldn't be doing this podcast for free. Um, Getting on and keeping and doing it. So I care about mental health, but I don't know if I necessarily want to do it in a therapeutic capacity. I think I like having these free flowing conversations. I know I love, not even think, I know I love podcasts and I know I love having conversations, but I don't think I want to have, I want to leave that to the people. I want to lead people into the profession, especially people of color, and black men too. That's one of my passions. But I think for me, it's something in the health services fields or around that way, but I don't know what it necessarily look like. So I think it's a blessing and a curse that I didn't get into the department that I wanted to get into. But I'm also still deciding, like, okay, what do you actually want to do? What start running out the career path? I have a bunch of um outside credentials, a bunch of certifications and history and things that I know how to do, but I don't know what it looks like in a career path. And I know a counselor could help out with that, but at the end of the day, it's up to you, and you knowing what you want to do. And I think that I'm still figuring that out, still trying to understand what that looks like. And yeah, so classes have been kicking my butt like they did last time. I understand why I quit before, and it sounds bad. I said it to one of my mentors, like, I see why I quit it before, but it really was kicking my butt, and I needed to, or I still need to figure out a way where um uh I feel comfortable. Now, let me not say this. It's not that it was kicking my butt and I couldn't do the work. I just forgot how challenging, because some of the classes I even in full transparency, one of the professors I just had, which who may be on the podcast later on, shout out Dr. White. um she will be on the podcast soon. I'm gonna try to get her on here. I don't know how that works in the university capacity, so that's what's taking that will may take a little long, but I knew her. So a lot of the classes and homework and all that stuff, I knew the people in the field most likely, and I knew some of the work. Now again, that doesn't make it easy. It makes it like challenging, because now I gotta take these words. That's why I think I love podcasts. And now I'm writing papers and all of those things. So I can't just freestyle and have free form conversation like I'm having with you all right now. uh I gotta put it my thoughts in a concise manner, and again challenging myself while also challenging the university. So um I think that's teaching me that. I'm excited. I think I'm taking genetics and mental health and right now, and then another class, because I'm only taking two classes per quarter. And I think I'm taking professional ethics and study something with ethics and learning that capacity. So yeah, man. I'm in school trying to get the BA. Well, not trying, going to obtain the BA. Then I'm going for my master's and my doctorate. I feel like I can add a lot of value to the space. And again, I'm still deciding which way I want to add my value to the space, but learning, maturing, and growing into the career path that I don't know, man. I'm still excited to get up every day and do the work that I do because of the impact that it's making. So I'm excited in that capacity. Um, what made me choose Jerksel to go to and uh it's because, and I gotta explain it two ways. So if you see me thinking, it's because of something else I want to get to later in the podcast. But it was because of the position or the job that I'm working at, or 11th Street. So I was working at a health center that's associated with Drexel University, and it's a federally qualified health center. And I believe I spoke on it in an earlier podcast before, but I was working there, and that place taught me so much, and I might as well let the cat out the bag. And again, that was one of the reasons why I stepped away from the podcast, is because I was working. I was being pulled in too many directions. I was being pulled by Black Men Hill, which we'll get into later. I was being pulled by the National Alliance of Mental Illness. Shout out NAMI, doing work for them with support groups and other things. Um, just being pulled in so many direct. I'm still a father. I'm still a family man. I'll get into that later as well. Um, just being pulled in so many different directions required me to try to prioritize things in a way that I could be beneficial to, and giving everything the attention that it deserves. Uh, so going back to the health center, um, we were able to do so much work, man, and I'll let the cat out of the bag and say I recently transitioned away from them because I wanted to get back to the things that I felt was missing inside of my life, but the podcast being one of them. And it was, how can I say, it was sad. It's like and when I say it's sad, think of if you ever had graduation or um I don't know. I'm trying to think of it in that capacity. It's more of like a graduating thing. You don't miss third grade. You don't miss or I think so. I graduate fourth grade, then you graduate middle school, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and so on and so forth. Um, and I think for me, I missed. It felt more like graduation. That I think that's more of the thing that I'll, or the context that I'll put it in. And with me graduating, it doesn't negate all of the things that I learned at the place that I left. I just know I needed to graduate into something else. I had learned so many things, and I kind of felt like there was a ceiling coming up. I'm not saying it had already come. It was a ceiling coming up that I needed to prepare for, and I needed to make that decision of it. Are you going to fight through that ceiling? Or are you going to um is there room for growth? And that's me being frank. And I had to make that decision to see if there was room for growth for me. And I felt that I had learned all of the things that I needed to learn, and or I was outgrowing the space that I was in and the capacity that I was in. And without going into too much detail, maybe I'll spread it out over time as we have these conversations. I'll get into more of the things that you'll hear through more of the conversations that I bring with the people on the podcast. Um, so yeah, man, I left there and it came here. I'm so grateful. They showed me how to do, and I can't remember everything. So excuse me. Let me look at my notes. Um, because I wrote down a list of like all the things that I gained, because you never always want to loot. We always remember the last thing that we were at the company, as opposed to what it was that I was doing when I entered. Again, they helped me get into a university. That was one of the goals that I had, was to get back into school and complete the bachelor's and do all that stuff. So I'm already grateful for that, because Drexel was on my list for the longest. It was that and the other local community school, but it helped me to obtain certain certification. We gave back to the community so much, from COVID relief bags to um, turkey drives to uh, Christmas drives and different things, that I'm just so happy we were able to serve different families in certain capacities. And I was so grateful for that, because I don't think I would have been able to do it. Um, I was able to provide a men's health council, where I got with guys within the city, um, that were, who all had the same goal of men's health and wellness, and just start to collaborate and connect with one another to see what that would look like, if we all utilize our resources and networks and connections to impact men in a good way, especially Black men's health. Again, I'm a man, so I have a affinity for Black men's health. So I was able to do that. We were able to, oh man, the community health assessment. I didn't know nothing about a community health assessment before I got into the center, and being able to use the assessment and get certified in certain capacities, to be able to work with the community in that way. Um, give the and the community health assessment, for those who don't know, is um it's a assessment without being redundant. It's an assessment that is taking information in from the community, and the voices of the community, that the center in this particular health assessment was going to use to dictate programming, um, certain services, different things that they can offer the community. It's a way to include the community's voice in the services that you offer. You don't want to just offer things without the input of the community, because that's a lot of the things that people do, is they just give it to, hey, I offered this and it's going to help you, and then it's like, I didn't want that. And so I think that was good, because now I have credentials that I can utilize in other capacities. um I kind of know the knowledge and the background behind it now. So I think that was a great skill set and tool that I'll learn moving forward. Um what else did I do? I learned, I was able to work on some infographics to educate the community and connect racism to racism to trauma. And I was able to connect with someone that said, if you can't name it, you can't claim it. And a lot of the research that comes with like mental health and um just the Black community in general, is that we don't, let me not, I'm gonna make sure I word this right, because I'm responsible now, and I've gotten some education of saying things the right way. um as a community, our voices are left unheard in some of the research, and sometimes it's twofold. Sometimes it's our lack of participation. Again, I was on the ground level, and a lot of people didn't want to do the assessment, or the incentives wasn't good enough to make them want to do it. And other part of that is our voices, and when I say our, I mean us as a Black community or minoritized community, our voices are not considered valuable when it comes to certain research. Did I word that correctly? And when I say valuable, I mean people thinking they know better than you what you need. Now, I think it's a collaboration effort. Again, the reason why I wanted to go to this university was to challenge it while also challenging myself. So I think it's a community, a collaboration between the two, and not just a, you know, individual efforts on both ends, because you need both parts. Um, what else did I able to learn? I was able to learn sanctuary training and certain values of oh man, I'm gonna mess up. But I tell you this, I think I'm gonna do a solo episode because I'll talk about it in later in the podcast. But um I want to do a solo episode on some of these things that I was able to learn and was able to get insight on, and get a community feedback from it. More details on that soon, but there's some things that I want to do with the podcast platform myself and other things, and collaboration again with other people, and breaking down some of these things because I felt like, and this participated within my leaving the health center, was that there was a, as we were doing things to contribute to society, there was room for flexibility, but because I was working under needing to get approval for certain things, and that I wasn't able to, just even something like as far as the Men's Health Council, I wasn't able to do it fully the way that I wanted to do it without thinking about how the health center would look or how it can impact people within the health center, or so on and so forth. So um I want to break some of those things back to my own and how I receive it, and see if there was ways and room for me to do it a different way without the impact of ruining someone else's reputation, if that makes sense. Um, let's see. What else did I get from the health center? And again, this is just me giving the flowers from what I did. Um, so the racism infographic, we did a lot of social justice incentives where we raised money to, provide electricity or help people help pay people's rent, um, and so on and so forth. Um, I was able to be a part of something called affinity groups, and again, I ain't know nothing about no affinity groups before, working at the health center. And what I'll say about affinity groups is they are great. They are great for conversation. And again, I love this. What I'm doing now, this podcast and that communication, that community work, all of that stuff. I love this. And the affinity groups brought us opportunity, and that's one thing I'll give credit to the health center was we had a lot of conversations that I don't think a lot of companies had, and we talked openly about race, all the things that happen in the community. We talked about that, especially the Black community. We was open, and the white people would share their experiences, Black people or people of color or non-people of color would share different experiences. We had people, we had our Black affinity group and we had a white affinity group, plain and simple. And we would use those different groups and have our private, not private, what's the word I'm looking for, our individual conversations. So it's certain conversations that need to be had amongst people of color where we have our internal, issues and things that we need to break out. And then you have um the conversations that people that are not a people of color has to have on their own without us in the room, and they need to do their own work and not just trying to unpack all of that at once. um and then we would come together after outside of our affinity groups, and it wasn't just to unpack each other, but it's some things that we needed to unpack on our own, like uh they say Black Lives Matter, and it's a fight that we need to do with the oppressors, but it's also a fight that we need to handle within our community, that we need to handle within one another. So um we had a lot of those conversations. We had it was another thing, we had I said the social relief committee. um Undoing Racism. That was the group called the Undoing Racism group, where we came together collectively and unpack and unravel this thing called racism. Because I think as much as we can feel some of these things have to get named and claimed, and now we can unpack and do research and all those different things around it. So we did that. I talked about the bags. I'm a part of another initiative that I think will continue outside of my position at the health center. Um and oh man, I'm gonna mess the name up, and I think I spoke on it here before, but I'll bring it up really quickly. Um because I may have spoken and I don't want to misspeak or leave someone out, because again, I just wanted to let you guys see what I've been up to. It's not as I haven't been working or I haven't been busy and doing work that still impact the community. But I want to know. Again, if I'm gonna leave y'all, I want y'all to know it was for a different purpose, and it wasn't just because it's like, "Oh, I don't feel like doing a podcast no more." It was like, no, he's doing some work, and again, bigging myself up some amazing things because I did again, and they had to be amazing for me to get away from you guys or step away from you guys, and was always missing. So, I'm a part of this collective. Uh, called Collaborative Opportunities to Advance Community Health, shortened to CROACH, and which is a trauma-informed healing um, practices advisory group. And I'm considered a community consultant. So, and we advance preventative strategies to reduce opioid-related community burden through surgical stewardship initiatives addressing social determinants of health, like food security, by strengthening community clinical linkages and fostering a culture of health literate care in Pennsylvania through providing training, patient empowerment, and organizational change. Now, of course, I just read that from somewhere because to me, and for me to simplify it is we were working with the local hospitals here in Philadelphia. And as you see, we have an initiative to do it out throughout the region of Pennsylvania. And it's just working to better the practices and again, going about including the patients or being a collaborative effort. We wanted to include the voices, excuse me, from people on the ground level in the community and letting them know that their voices need to be included in the care and work that we do. So, for example, um, we were working with Temple. I'll use the names Temple, Penn. Who else was in there? Well, I can't think of none of the name. Einstein. There we go. All the hospitals within the community, all of them, every last one of them that you could think of. And to just see what their practices was and seeing how it can impact or further damage certain people that come through their hospital. I was fortunately and unfortunately able to come through the hospital because of my car accident again earlier episodes, and some of the treatment that I got wasn't good for my mental health. It made me feel like I wasn't worthy. It made me feel like they didn't care about me. They were just trying to get me in and out the door. I think I explained it on a previous episode, and there was nothing I could do about it. I was just I get bandaged up and go home, and now I have a chance to impact them and impact their practices and impact the work that they do. And it's exciting. So again, that wouldn't have been brought, that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the 11th Street family and in partnership with Drexel, the federally qualified health center. So I'm thankful for my time there again because I learned so much more that I couldn't possibly fit in this podcast. And I'm excited to move forward in other opportunities in that way. So, yeah. So they was again. I'm in school. They will always be a part of it. People always will affiliate me with that, and I have no problem being affiliated with it. I learned so much things, and that was it. Um, Something outside of work that happened since the last time you guys talked to me is, or talk to me, you can't talk to me. I talked to you is I got married. I finally got married out of all this time. Um, been with my now wife. I've been calling her my bride lately because I don't know why that stops after you get married or you only a bride. Here comes it's a husband and bride, and we don't use bride no much. And I want to use bride, so I call her my bride. Been married, been with my bride for 10 years. Um, it'll be 11 this year, but for 10 years. And now, granted, ladies, uh, it was not like I wanted to make her wait 10 years. I think around 2016, I was probably I think I proposed in 16. And we were probably destined to get married in 17, if I'm my timeline correctly. Of course, I bring my wife on to explain and she'll be able to dive into it. But we had so many roadblocks that came in the way, and roadblocks meaning she was pregnant. Then we had the baby, so we were new parents again and had to get used to that. And then I got in a car accident, and then I had to recover. And then that kind of gets and then the pandemic right into that too, and we kept running into different roadblocks, and it was something that well, actually I'll say me. It was something that I realized that it was always going to be something that we ran into, even before this life changing thing like called the pandemic came into the space. Um, there were other things prior that stopped it, so it's always going to be something. And so we kind of had to just figure it out, and we got married. I wish I had my pictures up here so you guys can see. Let me see if I pull up my Instagram, will it work? Because I want you guys to really get a glimpse of at least some of our put my phone up, some of our wedding day. And if you're listening to us, just go over to the YouTube and you can kind of see what I am about to share with the audience, because it was an amazing day. It was something that we just planned together. It wasn't a big wedding, again, because it was in a pandemic, so we couldn't do too much. And we figured out a way to finally bury the hatchet. We only was able to I think we had about 10 people at our wedding. Of course, we had our kids there, and let's see. I'm on Instagram now. By the way, follow me on all social platforms if you haven't done so already. And again, when once I get everything situated with getting the podcast back up and running, I will bring the wifey back on so she can share her version of it. So again, we went with the tan and bronze fade. That if you haven't noticed already, those are my colors. So I wanted to make sure I utilize those colors within the marriage. So then she looked gorgeous. I'm again, if you on any other audios, the Spotify's, the Apples, the titles, or wherever you're listening to, please come look at it on YouTube or follow us and you'll be able to see it. So yeah, this is the bride. This was at the hotel when we were before we were about to go to the altar. Oh no, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Let's see. How do you do this? Oh, there we go. I don't have my glasses on. Those are our rings, our wedding bands. Uh And then though you see our babies, let me see if I could get these arrows off. Again, you gotta go follow the social media to see it. But yeah, you got that. Then you got how she look, of course, and I'm gonna keep taking my flowers because everybody was talking about how beautiful she looked, but then going there, I look good too. You ain't gonna keep talking about me and not, I mean talking about her, not me. And start having our lifestyle rings and stuff like that. So again, it was something small, and I was happy to do it after 10 years of just waiting to get married. So I'm officially a married man. Man, one of the things I'll talk about is I didn't know how I didn't know how beneficial it was to, yeah, my wife got to check on my wife. That has cleared up so many opportunities that I didn't want to do for me. Yeah, let me check with my wife now because the kids was running dry. I remember one friend, I was telling him about my kid. Yeah, I gotta get my son a bath. He's like, yeah, wait, how many times you clean your son? He got to be the cleanest son in the world because you always giving him a bath every time I call. So I needed a new excuse to get out of things, and bath time. I mean, being a married man was one of them, man. And I always say that it gives me stability. It gives me how can I say uh I don't have to focus on so many things. I get to, pour all my energy into one thing, almost like podcasting. I get to pour all my energy into one thing that I love, and I'll be able to get great results. So I'm happy to be married, and I look forward to the next 10 years and what they will bring to our union. But again, I'll go into that deeper when wifey comes on the podcast whenever she graces with with her presence. All right, what did I want to get into next? Told you about the love, the marriage, um classes. I guess one of the next things I'll get to that without work being the first one, the next thing will be uh going with Black Man Hill, man. The beautiful journey that is Black Man Hill now. I started off the year in 2022, 2021, interviewing the Black Men Hill team. So you guys know most of the team from Black Men Hill and some of the things that we do. And you'll hear a lot more. I'm going to go a lot deeper into Black Men Hill and throughout the year. And when I say deeper, I mean some of the participants and some of the programs that we have, some of the opportunities, some of these different things as they come up. So you'll hear more throughout the year as we go. But man, the beautiful blessing that is Black Man Hill, and why I call it such a beautiful blessing. I think I was supposed to get a drink of water before I go into this, so excuse me. The beautiful blessing that is Black Man Hill, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. And long story short is that when Black Man Hill was in 2018. Again, I was able to interview them before I became a part of the team. So you guys can go back. I think it's episode 16, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can go back and listen to some of the episodes and see what it was when it was starting out. I was able to get my free therapy through Black Man Hill in 2018. I would go on and start doing different things. And one of the things, just like I spoke on about the degree and all of that, one of the things that kept coming up for me about professionally what I was doing. So it's like, all right, you don't have a degree, and what organization are you with? And when I would say, yeah, I'm me, I'm just Reg, just trying, help the people. They were like, oh, all right, well, we need something a little bit more legit. And excuse me. And one of the people that came to mind when I decided to go in a different direction was Black Man Hill. And the reason why I chose Black Man Hill was I wanted to go back to the company that served me and served them. And so fast forward 2021, again, you guys, that was one of if 2018 was one of the transitional years of my life, and why I call it that was my book came out, my podcast started, or this podcast started, and then I started speaking, and all of those things, those beautiful blessings was happening. 2021 in a big way was a transitional year for me as well. Going to school, doing the work that I was doing at the health center, and then the beautiful blessing of Black Man Hill is the impact that we were making within the community, man. And you don't you don't take that certain things like that for granted. And you don't I think these one of those things where I'll look back on it, and it'll really make more sense to me when I'm not doing it. And I liken it to like athletes when they are in their career and they're in their prime and they're doing their stuff. It's hard for them to enjoy it. Now, let me say that in a different capacity, because you got some brothers, they party hard, like they party and they enjoy everything after it, but they never get back too. Some of those brothers never get back, and it take a lot of the discipline um and work ethic to keep winning. And I don't know why I was mentioning it in that capacity and why I was doing. You see, you could tell I'm a little rusty at this, but I really enjoy one again going back to why I transitioned out of my job. Anything that I do is like, how can I help more people doing it? And one of the reasons why I left there was that I only had a certain limit of the amount of people that I could help. Yeah, I think it was good. You could help people on that. This podcast exists for me wanting to reach a lot more people, and that's something you can look forward to in the future, is that we will take this podcast global. I realize that Black mental health doesn't just focus on one, diaspora of us, and we will take it further. But again, I'll get into that either later or on another podcast. But I wanted to just help more people, and when in Black Men Hill, doing the work that I was doing, or doing the work that I am doing, um allowed me to impact so many people last year that I didn't even realize. And when I say me, I mean us as a team. Like, we were able to impact so many people uh nationally. that we went on a tour. So one of the things that we do for Black Men Hill, one of the programs that we run is King's Corner, and King's Corner is a support group and where men get together, and it's a psychoeducation group. We have therapists as hosts. We have um different individuals that come through, and it's that fellowship, that camaraderie, um that support that you need that you don't get often. And it's every Sunday night at 7. We'll be back January 20th. For those men that want to, check it out. And the group got so big online that we wanted to see if we can take it in person and take it outside. And mind you, this is amidst COVID. This is amidst black rioting and the trauma and the different cases, and rest in peace to all the people that we lost. Gun violence. There's a lot of things going on. We decided to take that outside because it's called King's Corner. And if you just doing it online, how much are you really outside doing it and affecting the community? So we decided to take it on tour, and it was a blessing because we were able to receive funding as an organization to provide funding for the tour, and go to and we're going to start up again in 2022, but we were able to start in Philadelphia, get the community of Philadelphia. um then where did we go next? We went to New York. We went to New York, was able to go in New York City. I can't remember all the details, but it followed the Black Men Hill page. It has a lot of that information on there. We went to New York, and then we went to Richmond. And some of the states that we have for 2022 is Baltimore. We're trying to hit Boston, Atlanta, whole East Coast. We're trying to hit that Charlotte, maybe even Texas, Miami. We're trying to hit everywhere where there's a brother that needs to cut this healing that happening on that corner, and we want to hit the brothers. And that was a beautiful blessing to go outside, especially amidst COVID. This was before Maricon or Marion, however you want to call it. It was before all these different things. And we were able to go there and just touch the people, man, touch the brothers, and to see, I literally got to see how people fall in love online. Before, I couldn't see it, I didn't understand it. um and now I got to seeing them brothers in person, people that you made connections with, people that bare their soul, talked about their relationships, and so on and so forth. And again, in a future episode, they will be on the podcast. um I was able to see them, and they felt like real brothers. They felt like brothers that I always knew. So they'll be on, and we'll be able to unpack some of these things, and we'll have these conversations. So look out for that. But it was so good to see that and have that feeling and see those guys in person. We had self-care stations so they can get massages, and we some of the things we're gonna play around with is free haircuts and all these different things. They have fine dining, catering, and food was amazing, and just fellowship, man, and presentation. We had therapists in every city. um just being able to connect, man. So shout out to King's Corner, shout out to my King's Corner guys. I know y'all probably gonna listen to this. Appreciate y'all for supporting in advance. And yeah, so we had the King's Corner. What else did we do for 2020? Because again, as you can see, it was a whirlwind. Oh man, shout out to the GOAT that is Charlemagne the God, man. This brother he started out one of the Black Men who was in existence from 2018 and up till now, of course, but since 2018. And it we were, I say we because I'm a part of, we were a struggling nonprofit all the way up until that point. And I shout out to Taz because I know she always like to say we was on the struggle bus, and Charlemagne came through, and we were on the Breakfast Club. And again, this was before my time, but we were on the Breakfast Club, and he gave a hefty donation to the platform, which or to the organization, which catapult everybody else supporting. And it just started to catapult into all of these different things that we is blessings that we of course were able to provide more free therapy to Black men and men of color, and other programs. And we got a lot more coming in store for 2022. But he was the catapult for that, so much to so. And I found this out through like interviews and watching him and learning his journey. And I say that too, he's the true definition of watching someone healing journey along the way. Um, he had a previous life of things that he used to do, but he's become an author. I know I was paying attention to him when my first stint of college up till now. He became a podcaster. He was one of the reasons why I started podcasting and getting into this. But so he's always been somebody that I followed throughout their lives, and watched them grow into the man that he's become. I almost look like him as a big brother. Um, because I've been watching him afar and he's been able to inspire me and give me those things that I want to continue doing my healing journey. But he created the Mental Wealth Alliance, and let me look them up while I'm actually you guys can see it with me. This is one thing about this podcast, and again, that's one of the things that I missed was some of these things I don't have to I could just show you so that way you're looking it up as I look it up, and we can get together and you can see it. So once this podcast ends, you will be able to see it on your own and be able to support and see where I am at. So let's click on the page. Is this it? You know, is as much as I'm supportive of everyone joining this mental health movement, I don't know who's who anymore. Like I don't know who's who and what everyone does. Oh man, I swear they had a website. Hold on. You know the lights and everything is blinding, but he has the Mental Wealth Alliance and it's a collection. All right, let's see if it pops up on this website. Actually, I can let you guys see what I'm seeing so that way it's not. This is Black Enterprise, of course. Um, all right, bro. I tried to give the website some spin, but I can't seem to find it. So, let's see. Let me go on their Instagram. Let me go on their Instagram. But basically, the Mental Wealth Alliance is a collection of mental health aspects, and when I say aspect, I mean uh we all have different issues. So again, Black Men Heal focuses on men healing. Oh, it's mental wealth alliance.org. All right, here we go. Let me stop sharing so you can see it. Um, and there's a collective. So Mental Health Alliance is Charlemagne the guy's vision to address the dire mental health gap in Black communities. The MWA works to raise awareness and stigma and expand across access across the three pillars of programming, training, teaching, and treating. Um, so one of the reasons why I brought that up was because we went to we were able and had the opportunity. So we got the funding, or not the funding, the donation from Charlemagne um in 2020. Other opportunities opened up themselves, and then Charlemagne started his Mental Wealth Alliance, which included the Black Man Hill. And so we were able to work with work with Charlemagne and his organization to again provide support for Black communities around mental wealth or mental health. And one of the things that Charlemagne did was the Mental Wealth Expo, where he brought out different celebrities like Michelle Williams, Angela Rye, and also mental health experts. And when I say experts, I mean people who are experts in their own way. Like Angela, not Angela, Jay Burnett. Shout out him. I'm definitely reach out to the bro to get him on the podcast. David McCullough, Jason Wilson, and of course Black Man Hill. And I'm helping. I gotta reach out to y'all because I want to do some things with the website. But yeah, we're a collective, man, who has the mission to do different things, and I'm looking for everyone's profile so I can give y'all a shout out. Um, who's in the collective? Because again, I don't know everybody by heart. I know Dr. Alfie. Dr. Alfie will definitely be on the podcast. We have a great relationship with her as an organization and what she do around mental health in the youth. There we go. So Silence the Shame is a part of the collective, the Black Mental Health Alliance, the Coma Project, the National Black Justice Coalition. Um, and no psych. So shout out to y'all. I'm gonna try to and not try. I will make sure it be my business to get you guys all on the platform and the podcast because of the work that you do and that you all continue to do. I feel like there's room for more explanation and growth and things of that nature. So I will have you guys on in the near future. But yeah, I said all that to say shout out to Charlemagne because he brought he brought people together. We had the mental wealth expo down up in New York City. So we were in New York City for the tour um in October. Was it October? When we were in New York City, I can't remember, but it was like 1 or 2 weeks right back and forth for together from each other. And again, if you guys actually, I should pull it up so you can see it since I have the Instagram up. And if you're not following the YouTube, please check it out because you'll be able to see some of the things that we were doing together. Um, but the Mental Wealth Expo, and again, I didn't get to go. I was actually working with NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and I wasn't able to go. So see guys, I didn't just miss you all because I wasn't doing anything. I also missed some important moments that I would have loved to go to, but I wasn't able to go because of my obligations. Let's see. All right, get this up here. But it was beautiful just seeing black brothers and sisters come together for the cause of healing, man. And I think that speaks a lot. Shout out to my brother D Reed up there on the stage for the healing, talking out. Y'all seen him in the previous episode. Um, just everyone coming together, man. T-shirts, just opportunities, man. And just everyone coming together. Shout out to my man from the Alchemy Project. He will definitely be on. Um, trying to get everybody on together, man. I don't want this wave of mental health to stop. I want everybody to come together and have these conversations. So again, shout out to Charlemagne for having everyone there, and doing the things that they did for the ultimate goal of healing, man. And I look forward to the next one because I know it's going to be an annual thing going into 2022 and beyond. uh what else did I have on here? So I talked about Black Man Hill, we talked about the King's Corner, the tour. Oh man, and we ended we ended 2022. And when I say end, it was right, everything shut down right before Christmas, and people don't really uh do too much work after think or before, right when Thanksgiving hit, up till Christmas, up till now. This is why you guys are getting the podcast at the top of excuse me, 2022. We had our first King's Corner gala, and not King's Corner gala. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry, my Black Male fan. We had our King's Gala, man, and it was just so beautiful. And I'm trying to find a video that just or a picture that sums it up because again, another thing of like just black excellence just coming together for the sake of just healing. And again, if those of you who are watching the YouTube, you can kind of see how it looked. We were out in the New Jersey State Aquarium. Used to be we were right next to the fishes. We were right next to just like everything. So man, it was just beautiful seeing all our folk together in one space, just enjoying each other's presence. And it was the true definition of like black excellence and individuals coming together for healing. Once again, that if it was something that I learned this whole time was that we were together for the sake of healing and that people really care about our community healing. You get into these different aspects where you feel like you kind of on your own, and people don't want to heal and people don't want to participate in oh, I got the video on my computer. I'm up here looking for this video like it's not on my computer. um Hold on, give me a second. But yeah, that's one of the things that I learned, that our community wants to heal. Our community, and when I say our community, I mean the black community. We want to heal and we want to enjoy one another. All right, holy, holy, WHO. I don't know how to spell holy, but whatever. But you get the point. We want to heal ourselves holy. Let me turn it down. But yeah, man. Is it playing? Yep. The King's Gala was such amazing. And shout out to Jermaine Jones. I'm definitely gonna have him on here. He was our keynote speaker. He came through and blessed us with an amazing story about his healing journey and what he had to go through. And yeah, man, and that was this was one of the reasons why I said 2021 was one of the transitional moments for my career and what I did because I was able to see, like, if nothing else happened, I would be glad that would be one of the highlights of my life. My parents, my mother was able to come out, my sister was able to come out, enjoy, my wife was there. Um and we just had a good time, man. It was black excellence at its finest, and it was a beautiful night. The food wasn't all that great. We kind of know what was going on, but just being in each other's presence after being with COVID for so long, um, so much things was on everyone's mind just throughout these years, and we wanted to provide a space where everyone just came and enjoyed themselves and had a good time. So shout out to the family, shout out to Black Man Hill, shout out to the people that support and that continue to support and to continue having conversations around mental health and healing. We as an organization, we do not do this work alone. We do it with many collaborative efforts and community work. So yeah, man. That has been what I have been up to for the past 6 months since you guys have heard from me. Also, I'll leave off before I tell you guys what you can expect for 2022 with the podcast. I'm on a bunch of boards now. Shout out to the National Alliance. Well, I was already on the board for my elementary school that I went to. Uh because I again I went to the school, so I'm able to share a different perspective than a lot of these board members can, because they didn't live in that community, they didn't live in that neighborhood, they don't know nobody, they don't have no connections or whatever the case may be. So I get to offer a different perspective and different voice from someone that grew up in that neighborhood and be able to, speak from I'm not a 10-year-old, however you are in your elementary, but I can speak from a certain voice and community or perspective. That's the word I'm looking for. So I was on that board already. Wound up joining what board came next? I want to say Drexel's board of diversity, equity, inclusion came next. I'm on their board now. Again, I came to make impact. In any position and anything that you guys see me do, or you all see me do after moving forward, it will always be about making impact. I'm trying to find ways to make, and not impact just for a certain aspect. I guess because I'm younger, and when I get older, I'll feel more like, all right, I can slow down. But in the space that I'm in now, I want to make as much impact to as many people as possible. And if it starts locally, and I don't want it to stay locally, I want it to move forward, but I would never forget local, because I know that's where I grew up at in certain communities that I came from. But I definitely want to continue to make impact that stretches beyond local. I want to make impact globally, and I guess this is me claiming it and owning it. And this is why I knew I needed to come back to the podcast and be with you all, is because I want to make impact globally. And if you ain't making global impact, I don't want to really that. I don't want no cap on. I know the young kids use no cap in a different way, but I don't want no cap on my impact. Oh, that's a shirt. Don't steal that. No cap on my impact. Um, but uh I joined the Board of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion at Drexel. I wanted to be a part of something that was going to make change university wise. I wound up joining the board of NAMI, again, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Shout out to my NAMI Bucks family and NAMI Philadelphia, all the NAMI family across the globe, NAMI LA, Chicago. Y'all know I connected. I can't wait to see what the work that we did come together if y'all listening to this. But I wanted to make global impact, so I joined the board. I've learned that joining the board helps you, kind of dictate them decisions and move, or for the things that's moving and shaking within different aspects. So definitely wanted to join the board of NAMI and see if I can make impact in that capacity. So I joined a bunch of boards. That has been taking my time as well. So now you guys have all been caught up to what I've been doing. Mind you, the only thing out of everything that I told you guys that I was doing, or you all that I was doing, that I put down was the position at the health center. I still am pulled in all of those different directions. I just think I have a better handle on managing it, one, and secondly, they give me the flexibility to still make impact in other ways, and that's all I want, is the ability to make impacts in other ways. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I hope y'all feel like that's been worth my absence. Uh, I'll be sure to make up for that. And that goes right into me telling you what you can expect moving forward. I'm starting to like these solo episodes. There are a couple things traumatic that I didn't want to get into in this episode because I wanted to not spread it out, but make sure I dive in deeper into future episodes about it. So you will get into it. Wasn't all rose gold. It wasn't. I had some things with family members that I want to get off my chest on here, with friends, even with certain opportunities. Certain things happen along the way that I really want to impact or unpack, and I didn't have the opportunity to unpack. I got my journal, but again, it forces me to concise everything uh into one thing, and writing in, but I want to just talk freely and be able to express myself in that way. And I think podcasting is the perfect platform for that. And I had to get back to that. You started to get lost in the sauce with certain things. And I forgot one of the things that I wanted to do with this podcast is, if you are my grandchild or future generations, I want them to be able to listen to this, to see what their grandfather was going through and some of the things, so that they know that they weren't alone. Again, a double, um, killing two birds with one stone. Um, and so that was one of the reasons. This was my journal. I wanted to get back to that. But also still interviewing people. I'm still going to have people on there. Um Again, I'm in that space where I'm becoming, quote unquote, and again, this is not my words, but a humble brag, where people consider me an expert in a certain way. And I haven't claimed that yet. I haven't owned that yet. That might be something that I have to unpack as well. But I think I know that I want to have 3 episodes that come out a week. And again, I know I already owe you guys 1 episode a week. I'm gonna make sure to still do that. But I want to have 3 episodes. And again, I'm playing around with this. You guys won't see this podcast, so just getting what you can expect from the podcast in 2022 and beyond. I'm changing platforms. I want to start doing certain things. It'll look a lot different than what it looks now. So I'm going to release a few episodes that I recorded that I was going to have and give to you guys, but it just, for whatever reason, I wasn't able to give you guys the attention that I need, so I just didn't release the episodes. I want to release some of those, but it will be 3 episodes. I'm attempting to make 3 episodes a week. One will be a solo. One will be an expert in the field of mental health, because I want to, again, challenge myself and to challenge the status quo. So I want to bring experts that's in the field, or would one consider experts, so therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, whoever that's considered experts. And then last but not least, but certainly more important, the regular girl or guy who don't have expertise, but they have a story, they have a journey, they have some healing that they can help other individuals who've been to some of the things that they've been through. They can help them out. They can do the same thing that we're doing today, and just having a conversation and letting them know they're not alone in their some of their struggles and their journey. So that's what the attempt to do. Now, you may get two, you may get one, but I will never abandon it again. You see, I release some few every year, and one thing I am learning with me, that I have to put in breaks for myself. And again, I'll get into this deeper, but I have to come up with a schedule with this podcast, because again, it's important to me. I want to continue to do it, but I have to schedule breaks, because it's the same thing with, like I said, like even with myself being married. I found something that I love to do that I can give my attention to, but you don't miss something if you're always in it. And one thing I did learn, that I missed this podcast, and I know with my wife, sometimes we need breaks from each other, where she just need to have even if that is being in a house by herself, or going somewhere with friends or family, whatever the case may be, she has that break, and I have my break as well. I need to schedule breaks within this podcast. So especially I already was getting burnt out with one a week. And now I'm talking about up and low to 3 a week. But if I schedule them properly, the breaks in properly, then I'll be able to feel like I'm giving you guys what you deserve, and some of the conversations that I want to have to fulfill my need as well. So you can expect a new look of how this will look moving forward. You can expect 3 episodes a week. And again, I'm gonna have fun. I think when the with the COVID or Marion American version clear up, I want to go back and travel again. As far as like getting outside, I want to have in-person conversations with certain individuals, and and again, just having fun. And me as a personal brand and who I'm starting to become, I also want to try some other things in that capacity as well, where you may not you'll see me in a different version. I don't want to give too much because I just want to see the people react to it. So you'll see me in 2022 try some different things. I've been doing this about 3 years now, and every year I want to come back with something fresher, something new, something innovative, something that people can never think. I just want to challenge thinking and things like that. So you will see some different things in 2022. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a ball. We're gonna have a good conversation, and I just love and thank you all for supporting. I've seen the numbers and people still listening to the podcast in my absence and all of the things that I'm doing, and I appreciate that tremendously. People all still come up to me and say, "Hey, I listened to an episode or I listened to that," and I'm like, "Man, I gotta come back to the podcast. Like I missed the pod." Um, and I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to have these conversations again. I won't say see you next week. I'll say see you in a couple days because y'all getting a couple of episodes every week. Um, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, all of those good things that you have already been doing. Please leave a review on iTunes. That helps so much with the algorithm and things that um make this podcast become one of the top podcasts in the podcast world. Uh and remember that this platform, I haven't said this in so long and I miss saying it. Remember that this platform has not been about being a replacement to therapy. It's an alternative place where people share therapeutic stories. Thank you for listening.